Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Continuing to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 18. We heard yesterday that after Sharmishta threw Devyani in the well, then Maharaj Yayāti came there. He just came there by providence, and he rescued Devyani. And so now she's telling him, see, you rescued me, you caught my hand, now we should get married. It is what is destined. So reading on, Yayatir anabhipretam
Yayāti anabhivripretam
devo paratam atmanaha
Devo
Devo paratam
Paratam
atmanaha
Atmanaha
manastu tat katam budva
Manastu
Manastu
Tat
tat sambuddhva
Gatam
pratijagraha tad vachaha.
Pratijagraha tat vachaha.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Sukadev Goswami continued, because such a marriage is not sanctioned by regular scriptures, King Yayati did not like it, but because it was arranged by providence and because he was attracted by Devyani's beauty, he accepted her request. According to the Vedic system, the parents would consider the horoscopes of the boy and girl who were to be married. If according to astrological calculations, the boy and girl were compatible in every respect, the match was called yotak, and the marriage would be accepted. Even 50 years ago, this system was current in Hindu society. Regardless of the affluence of the boy or the personal beauty of the girl, without this astrological compatibility, the marriage would not take place. So it was true before. The astrological charts were matched. Now maybe very less. Before it was more. Okay, a person is born in one of the three categories known as Deva Gana, Manushya Gana, and Rakshasa Gana. In different parts of the universe, there are demigods and demons. And in human society, also some people resemble demigods, whereas others resemble demons. If according to astrological calculations, there was conflict between a godly and a demoniac nature, the marriage would not take place. So to check the compatibility, what is the nature of a person. Similarly, there were calculations of pratiloma and anuloma. The central idea is that if the boy and girl were on equal level, the marriage would be happy, whereas inequality would lead to unhappiness. Because care is no longer taken in marriage, we now find many divorces. Indeed, divorce has now become a common affair. Although formerly one's marriage would continue lifelong, and the affection between husband and wife was so great that the wife would voluntarily die when her husband died, or would remain a faithful widow throughout her entire life. Now, of course, this is no longer possible, for human society has fallen to the level of animal society. Marriage now takes place simply by agreement. Dampatye Bhiruchir Hetu Bhagavatam, Canto 12, Chapter 2, Text 3. The word Abhiruchi means agreement. If the boy and girl simply agree to marry, the marriage takes place. But when the Vedic system is not rigidly observed, marriage frequently ends in divorce. So we are seeing that currently. We don't take care to match the horoscopes. We don't take care to match the compatibility or the background. And marriage is simply on agreement, and many times marriages also end in divorce. Any comments? Okay, reading on.
Hare
Gate Rajani.
Krishna Shilpa
Hare
ji.
Krishna.
So what they mentioned here is Hare Krishna Shilpa ji. So in this
Yeah,
purport, what they are saying is that the Manushya ka jan teen कोट में होता है. So like all of us are either Devgan or Manushyagan or Rakshasgan, right? That's
yeah,
what they mean here,
yes, that's right.
right? Oh, so then they
Yeah,
would say that Devtagan would get married to Devta only, and Manushya would get married to Manushya only. So like there must be some setting like that. So if it is
yeah,
not,
there's
uh,
mm,
then they
to
would
see
suggest not to get
compatibility.
married.
Yeah, to
Compatibility.
see
Okay,
what,
yeah,
yeah,
perfect.
to see how the qualities match, to see how is the quality, are the
Yeah,
qualities
okay,
matching of the boy and girl. Yeah, so before this
okay,
was done, and then
okay.
before there was also experts who were able to read these charts perfectly.
Hmm,
You
hmm,
know, now
hmm,
sometimes it may happen that somebody wants to read the charts also, but then they may not be available, the expert
hmm.
reader, to actually read the chart in
Yes,
an expert manner. That also could
yeah,
be one thing. Okay.
yeah,
Gate
okay,
Rajni
yeah, perfect.
Sadhire
गते राजनी साधीरे
Tatra Smarudati Pituhu
तत्र स्म रुदति पितुः
Nyavedayat Tata Sarvam
न्यवेदयत्ततः सर्वम्
Uktam Sharmishtaya Kritam.
उक्तं सर्मिष्ठया कृतम्.
Thereafter, when the learned king returned to his palace, Devyani returned home crying and told her father Shukracharya about all that had happened because of Sharmishta. She told how she had been thrown into the well but was saved by the king. So she's going on and telling her father what all happened. Durmana Bhagavan Kavya
दुर्मना भगवान् काव्यः
Paurohityam Vigarhayan
पौर्योहित्यं विगर्हयन्
Stuvan Vritim Cha Kapotim
स्तुवन् वित्तिं च कापोतिम्
Duhitrasa Yayo Purat.
दुहित्रा स ययो पुरात्.
As Shukracharya listened to what had happened to Devyani, his mind was very much aggrieved, condemning the profession of priesthood and praising the profession of Unchavriti, collecting grains from the fields. He left home with his daughter. When a Brahmana adopts the profession of a kapota or pigeon, kapot, pigeon, he lives by collecting grains from the field. This is called Unchavriti. A Brahmana who takes to this Unchavriti profession is called first class because he depends completely on the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and does not beg from anyone. So we have read earlier also that how even the sannyasis, four types, and one of them is they don't go begging from door to door, but they collect whatever food grains is left on the fields. So Shukracharya is saying, oh, that is better because you're not begging from anyone. Although the profession of begging is allowed for a Brahmana or sannyasi, one does better if he can avoid such a profession and completely depend on the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead for maintenance. Shukracharya was certainly very sorry that because of his daughter's complaint, he had to go to his disciple to beg some mercy, which he was obliged to do because he had accepted the profession of priesthood. In his heart, Shukracharya did not like his profession, but since he had accepted it, he was obliged to go unwillingly to his disciple to settle the grievance submitted by his daughter. So she seems that she is the disciple of the father. Sharmishta's father is his disciple, Shukracharya's disciple. Um, One moment, please. Okay, so he's taking Devyani and going to Sharmishta's father's house. Rishaparvatam Agyaya
वृषपर्वातमाज्ञाय
Pratyanika Vivakshitam
प्रत्यनीकविवक्षितम्
Gurum Prasadayan Murdhana
गुरुं प्रसादयत् मूर्धना
Padayo Patita Pathi.
पादयोः पतितः पथि.
King Rishaparva understood that Shukracharya was coming to chastise or curse him. Consequently, before Shukracharya came to his house, Rishaparva went out and fell down in the street at the feet of his guru and satisfied him, checking his wrath. So it was a family matter, and Rishaparva now he's like, his guru is coming. He also has heard what has happened. So just to pacify and calm down the situation, he's going down, he's going out to meet Shukracharya, bowing at his feet. Shanardha Manyur Bhagavan
क्षणार्थमन्यु भगवान्
Shishyam Vyachashita Bhargavaha
शिष्यं व्याचष्ट भार्गवः
Kamosya Kriyatam Rajan
कामोऽस्यः क्रियतां राजन्
Nenam Tyaktum Ihotsahe.
एनां त्यक्तुम् इहोत्सहे.
The powerful Shukracharya was angry for a few moments, but upon being satisfied, he said to Vrishvaparva, My dear king, kindly fulfill the desire of Devyani, for she is my daughter, and in this world I cannot give her up or neglect her. Sometimes a great personality like Shukracharya cannot neglect sons and daughters, for sons and daughters are by nature dependent on their father, and the father has affection for them. Although Shukracharya knew that the quarrel between Devyani and Sharmishta was childish, as Devyani's father, he had to side with his daughter. He did not like to do this, but he was obliged to because of affection. He plainly admitted that although he should not have asked the king for mercy for his daughter, because of affection, he could not avoid doing so. So Shukracharya's understanding these girls, they're quarreling, it's just like for no reason at all. But yet he's like, okay, I have affection for my daughter, so I have to take her side. He's in that position. Tateti avasthite praha
तथेति अवस्थिते प्राह
devyani manogatam
देवयानी मनोगतम्
pitra data yato yasye
पित्रा दत्तायतो यास्ये
sanuga yatu mam anu.
सानुगायातु मामनु.
After hearing Shukracharya's request, Rishabharva agreed to fulfill Devyani's desire, and he awaited her words. Devyani then expressed her desire as follows. Whenever I marry by the order of my father, my friend Sharmishta must go with me as my maidservant, along with her friends. So Shukracharya told Vishwaparva, just listen to what my daughter's request is, and then. So what is she requesting now, Sharmishta? I'm sorry, Devyani.
Sharmishta must go with me as a maid servant when I get married. Oh my God.
Yeah. So she's saying now, okay, now Sharmishta should become my servant, whenever I marry. Pitra data deva yanye.
पित्रा दत्ता देवयान्ये
Sharmishta sanuga tada.
शर्मिष्ठा स अनुगा तदा
Svanam tat sankatam vikshya
Swanam tat sankatam vikshya
tad arthasya cha gauravam
tad arthasya cha gauravam
devayani paryacharat
devayani paryacharat
stri sahasrena dasavat.
istri sahasrena dasavat.
Vishvaparva wisely thought that Shukracharya's displeasure would bring danger and that his pleasure would bring material gain. Therefore, he carried out Shukracharya's order and served him like a slave. He gave his daughter Sharmishta to Devyani, and Sharmishta served Devyani like a slave, along with thousands of other women. In the beginning of these affairs concerning Sharmishta and Devyani, we saw that Sharmishta had many friends. Now these friends became maidservants of Devyani. When a girl married a Kshatriya king, it was customary for all her girlfriends to go with her to her husband's house. For instance, when Vasudeva married Devaki, the mother of Krishna, he married all 6 of her sisters, and she also had many friends who accompanied her. A king would maintain not only his wife, but also the many friends and maidservants of his wife. Some of these maidservants would become pregnant and give birth to children. Such children were accepted as Dasiputra, the sons of the maidservants, and the king would maintain them. The female population is always greater than the male, but since a woman needs to be protected by a man, the king would maintain many girls who acted either as friends or as maidservants of the queen. In the history of Krishna's household life, we find that Krishna married 16,108 wives. These were not maidservants but direct queens. And Krishna expanded himself into 16,108 forms to maintain different establishments for each and every wife. This is not possible for ordinary men. Therefore, although the kings had to maintain many, many servants and wives, not all of them had different establishments. So before it was customary that the princess would get married and all her friends would also go with her, many of the friends, so that she has company. She doesn't feel lost in the new place. And then some of these friends would also be like maidservants. And then some of them would get children. And then these would all would be maintained by the king, Dasiputra. So we see that the king then he had to have the responsibility to maintain so many people. And then Srila Prabhupada here is mentioning about Krishna, that Krishna, he married 16,108 wives, but he gave each of them separate palaces. They were all his queens. They were not servants. They were all his queens. And he himself also expanded to be with each of them individually. Not that he's taking turns to meet them. Any comments, questions?
Just a little shocking to read that the sisters, like how the friends, like how, yes, the maid servants would go, but even the friends and sisters, wow.
Sisters would get married also. Yeah, we see also how Daksha's daughters, Kashyap Muni married, right? I think 13 of his daughters
Mm-hmm.
were
Yeah,
married.
yeah.
Kashyap Muni.
But
Yeah, so
like,
this was a
so
different
like, but
time,
that is getting married, right?
getting
This was
married.
getting married properly, but not like as you go as a maid servant or something like that, right?
Oh, Vasudev also married
Yeah.
all,
So, but then they're
all the
saying that
sisters.
जब वसुदेव ने भगवान श्री कृष्ण की माता देवकी से विवाह किया तो उन्होंने उनकी 6 बहनों से भी शादी कर ली और
Yeah,
उनकी जितनी सखियां थी वह साथ साथ ससुराल गए. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like this was normal that they got married, but even the friends went. I never knew this. Like
Friends.
how the
Ah, yeah.
maid servants would go, that is normal. Like कि जो उनके
Ah,
जो दासी होती थी रानी के, वो सब जाते थे प्रिंसेस के. But even the
ah.
friends, wow.
Mm.
Hare Krishna. Yeah,
Hare
but see, like
Krishna.
during Ram's time, then it was only one. He had only one wife, right? Being a
Yeah.
king, so all of them. So I think then it is different, right? He was the thing that he's only had
Only
kept
one
one
wife.
wife,
Yeah.
but
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
so different yug. I think it's different, right? That's how it is.
Different yug, and also that was his, like he had taken a vow, right? That I'm going to
Mm.
show how to be a ideal human being,
Hmm.
Maryada, right?
Maryada
Hmm.
Purushottam.
Etc.
So, you know,
And this also one point, Shilpaji, in the very beginning when they're saying that the Vrish Parva, he was very intelligent and he thought that Shukracharya might get, you know, angry or something if he didn't follow,
mm-hmm. Yeah,
right? And if he follows, then he might be, like something good will happen.
yeah, because
Because
Shukracharya,
like
after all,
how
very powerful, right?
powerful, yes. And like how we have read that like Shukracharya in his daughter's love for his daughter. So even the king had love for the daughter. So maybe he thought that he will curse my daughter or something bad will happen. So rather let me just follow what he's asking. So at least that
Yeah,
would be good, right?
yeah,
But imagine giving your daughter, who's
Ah,
a princess,
it
for
did not
as to
easy.
become a maid
Not
servant.
easy. Yes, yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Very. But that's what like he did because he was intelligent. He thought that इससे बुरा कुछ हो उससे बेटर है कि इसको एक्सेप्ट कर लो.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Okay. Shall we stop here?
Yeah.
Right. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila
Jai,
Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur
jai,
Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Hare
jai.
Krishna.